Welcome everybody to the Bakery Bears video show, episode 296. Yes, I can never remember. 296. My name is Kay, and today, as you're watching this, is June the, again, can't remember, 19th. If you're watching it straight away, it's June the 19th, although you would not know that from the weather outside. It's been so dark and grey and dull where I am here. I'm in the northeast of England. Yeah, the sunshine seems to have left us, but fingers crossed it will return. I'm sure it will, and in no time I'll be complaining that it's too hot, won't I? Yes, absolutely. That's usually the way it goes. But yeah, it's been another 2 weeks, and it's been a busy 2 weeks for me. Bryony came home for a week, which was lovely. Yeah, she came home. I took a few days off. I'd managed to get ahead with all of my work, so I took a few days off and we did some lovely things. Nothing, nothing overly exciting, I suppose, but we had some lovely walks. We did a bit of shopping. And we also went to see The Mandalorian and Grogu, which was great fun. Really enjoyed it. Bryony's actually seen it 3 times now. She saw it twice in York because she just loves it. She's obsessed with The Mandalorian. She loves Pedro Pascal. And yeah, so we went to see that and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't sure how I would feel about watching it without Dan, But we both said straight away that we think he would have really loved it. Dan's absolute favourite Star Wars film is Solo. And I know that's a controversial thing. I think a lot of die-hard kind of Star Wars fans think that Solo is... I don't know really what they think, but I know it's controversial. Anyway, that's our absolute favourite and we love it. But yeah, we think he would have enjoyed Mandalorian and Grogu. And it was great fun. It felt very Star Warsy for me. Yeah, so I had a really nice time. And then I took her back to York. A few people have asked me actually what she's doing over the summer because she's now finished her 2nd year of university and it's now the summer break. And I know that a lot of students in the summer will pack up and go home, won't they? And then go back again in September. But the accommodation that Bryony is in, it is a purpose-built student accommodation. It's actually all year round. You can stay there all year round. And I've already arranged it for next year as well. I've already paid so that she can stay there all of next year too. So it's just continuous. I think they normally have a week at the end of August, which is like technically changeover week. But she's already checked with the office and it's totally fine, she can just stay there. So that's really good. So her plan is to sort of go back and forth because she really loves York. And let's face it, where we live here, there's really nothing to do. And in York, there's everything to do. And she's got friends there. She's got one friend in particular, her best friend, who is also staying over the summer. And there's loads for her to do. So she's going to be back and forth between here and York. And then also she'll be visiting her boyfriend a few times. Her boyfriend's doing an apprenticeship down about half an hour from Oxford. So yeah, that's Bryony's plans really for the summer. And we had a really lovely time. One thing that I did when I went through to pick her up, because I just go through on the train. To be honest, even if I can drive and I do have my car, but even that being the case, I wouldn't drive to York. It can be a bit of a nightmare getting in and out of York because it's not on like the motorway system. You come off the motorway and then it's quite a drive on like, I presume they are A roads, but they can get really busy, especially in the summer. And it can sometimes take you ages to get in and out of York. And it's half an hour for me on the train. There's just no point. So yeah, I went through on the train because she had a suitcase and she wanted my help and stuff. So yeah, but on the day that I went to get her, we went into Toppings. Toppings Books is now opened in York. I'm sure I spoke about this, didn't I, in a previous show? We were very excited for it to open. as you can imagine, Bryony was chomping at the bit to get in there. I showed you before the building, didn't I? Well, it's open now, and yeah, we went in. She'd already been in on the first day it opened. It opened on a Friday, I think. Probably 2 weeks ago today, as you watch this, it opened. She went in, and I think she got a bit annoyed because it was so busy. But it was the day it opened, you know. It's good that it was busy. But yeah, she didn't quite like that it was so busy because she couldn't kind of get to the shelves she wanted to get to. She did order a book on that first day, and as I'm talking to you now, almost 2 weeks later, it hasn't arrived, and she did chase it. They told her it'd be like 3 to 7 days, and it didn't arrive, so she went in and chased it, and they're like, oh, I don't know why, we'll chase it. And she's still, as I was talking to you now, she's still not got it. Yeah, so I said to her, look, it's probably just settling in, teething issues, you know, getting everything in place and what have you. So we've got to allow them a bit of time, haven't we? The other thing when we went in actually was they were still doing work, and although it wasn't visible, it was behind doors that were closed, you could hear it, and it was loud, it was hammering, it was banging, it was sawing going on. So clearly they haven't quite finished. And also one thing that we really noticed was there was lots of tables, you know, with books on and beautiful displays. So many books. But we did notice a lot of the books on the tables kind of felt a bit dusty. And again, I think that's just, you know, they've literally just finished work and not even finished work. And I think it's the kind of fallout from all of that. So, you know, me and Bryony were talking, saying, should they have given it another week before they opened? Maybe. However, I understand they were under huge pressure to open. It had already overrun. So I do understand that. And I'm sure given time, all of these things will settle down. I mean, it's such a beautiful building, and just so many books. And I even climbed a ladder to get a book for Bryony. Because they go up to the ceiling, the bookshelves go up to the ceiling. And again, whilst I understand that that's to accommodate more books, it does make it a little bit difficult to access, obviously, the ones that are at the top, and Bryony wouldn't go up a ladder. And the staff will come and get it for you, no problem. But I think if you're the type of person like Bryony, she will go and ask someone, but I suspect another person who was a bit more shy, a bit more introverted, might not do that and might feel a bit intimidated that a lot of the books are out of their reach. Yeah, so mixed feelings actually. Overall, it's fabulous. It's a beautiful building, packed full of books. The department, you know, the range of books was amazing, I've got to say, absolutely amazing. They had a big history section, and I was just thinking of Dan the whole time, thinking, oh my gosh, you know, me and Bryony said we would just leave him in this history section and we wouldn't see him all day. So yeah, amazing to have such another fantastic bookshop, I think, in York, in just such a beautiful building. So that was really great that that's open now and that we went in. And yeah, really enjoyed Bryony's visit, and then took her back, and then I've been back to work as is my usual these days, and really enjoying that too. So we're right in the middle of summer of stitching, aren't we, right now, with our patrons, and I've been filming for that. And actually I went a little bit out and about, only a little bit, for that, and yeah, I'm well on with the filming of that. Currently we are almost at the end, not too far away from finishing the Practically Perfect socks that I showed you last time, and then through July we're going to be making a bag. So that actually now leads me very nicely on to Kay Jones, what's off your needles? Now, I do have something off my needles, but I've also got something off my sewing machine needle. Because yes, I've got the project bag here that we will be making through July. it's finished now, so you know my filming schedule is obviously ahead of when people will watch it. So I've got the finished bag and I'm going to show you. I have shown this bag before. It was in like the little trailer that I did. Not even a trailer, the little intro that I did for Summer of Stitching. And I've got, this is my bag now because I've made 2 of these. The first one I actually gave to a friend as a gift, and then this one now is mine. So yeah, it's all finished and I absolutely love it. So here's the bag that we will be making through July. Just lovely. And then I do have in here, I've got the August project. I've literally just cast it on, so I won't be showing you anything, just by showing you the inside. So inside the fabric is the sort of Let's Go Fly a Kite. And it's a brilliant size. This is the size of bag that I use the most. The fabric that we cut out, I'm trying to remember the size of fabric. So it was 13 inches by 10.5. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And that produces this size of a bag. And I use this for socks, hats, mitts, small shawl, anything like that. It's a really good size. So it's got a, you know, zip, handle, and then we piece together these 2 fabrics so that it's got a nice little border at the bottom. So the fabric range that I used is from Riley Blake and it's called A Spoonful of Sugar. A lot of our patrons have sourced this fabric. Some of them are still waiting for it because it went on to back order, I believe. And certainly in this country, I got it from Wool Warehouse when it very first came out, which was, I think, it might have been like November or something last year, back end of last year. I got on it straight away because I'd got this theme in mind already and I thought, right, I've got to get that fabric. So I managed to get some. You can still get like the coordinating fabrics from Wool Warehouse, but the last time I looked, they didn't have any of the main print. So this comes in, this is I think this colour is called Champagne. And then there was white, and then I think green. Yeah, I think it was green background. I obviously went for this one because it looks pink. No other choices there. But you don't have to, obviously you don't have to use this fabric. If you are going to sew along with me, you don't have to use this fabric. But I know a lot of people wanted to source it. But yeah, I got this all finished and I'm absolutely loving having this project bag. The fabric is so adorable. So I've got my project bag all done. So that's exciting. And then I do have a finished pair of socks. I was concerned actually that I wasn't going to have anything finished for you for this, not for you, you know what I mean, that I wasn't going to have anything finished this time. However, I managed to finish these really quite quickly, and it's the bright socks that, I don't know what to call them really, they're very, very bright. I showed you last time. I'll show you the yarn first. It's by Twisted Ambitions yarn, and it's this gorgeous, very summery, tropical sort of looking blues and greens, and the colourway is called Seasons of Love. And I finished the socks for Bryony. Here they are. Oh, I love them. Aren't they fun? So what did I do for these? It's just a plain vanilla sock. I did 12 rounds. Let me just hold one up. 12 rounds knit 2 pale 2. 40 rounds for the leg. I put in my butterfly heel, straight down the foot, and then my umbrella toe. And this type of a sock at the minute, this is my comfort zone in terms of knitting. I just absolutely love it. On 9-inch circulars. Who am I? I'm glad I had this phase actually while Dan was here with me, because he just laughed at me so much with these needles, and yeah, I did nothing but sort of ridicule them for quite some time, and then lo and behold, I love them now. Just shows you, doesn't it? Yeah, so I really love these socks. I love how this yarn knitted up. It's not self-striping, but look how it knitted up. It looks like self-striping, doesn't it? I just think it's perfect. I do want to go back and buy some more from this same dyer in the hope that it will look like this. So I haven't done that yet, but I'm tempted, very tempted. I bought this yarn from Stephen and Penelope. One of our patrons, actually, talking of that, posted in our Facebook group. We've got a private Facebook group for our patrons. She posted that she went into Stephen and Penelope in Amsterdam recently, and Stephen was there, and she got a photo with him, and he even wound the yarn for her that she was going to use for the Practically Perfect socks. I was like, oh my gosh, Stephen West wound the yarn for one of my designs. Is that not like amazing? So that was brilliant. So yeah, these are all finished, and I'm going to take these to Bryony tomorrow. Actually, I'm popping through to see her. We're going to tomorrow. She's been wanting to for a while to take me to do this. She's been a few times, but she's been wanting to take me. We're going to go and paint pottery. Do you know there's these places these days where you can go in and you paint some pottery, and then you leave it with them, and then they fire it and glaze it and what have you, and then you go back and pick it up. She's done it a few times with her friends and with her boyfriend, and she's wanted to do it with me. I said, oh, let's do it then when I next come. It's only around the corner from where she lives, so we're going to do that. I don't know what I'm going to paint yet. We looked in the window the other day to see what they'd got in, because they change things all the time. They always have like mugs and plates, but then they'll change things seasonally. They have lots of little sort of figures you can do that change. Bryony also said they have just letters, and I thought, oh, I wonder if they've got a D, an A and an N, and I could paint those and just have them, couldn't I, sat on my desk maybe. So we'll see anyway. When I get those back eventually, I will show you. So yeah, I'm going through to see her tomorrow, and I'm going to take these to her because Bryony and her boyfriend are going on a little trip to Edinburgh very soon. She's very, very excited. They're going on a little holiday together. They have been to Edinburgh before a couple of years ago, but they're staying a little bit longer this time because they both said they didn't really have enough time to do all of the things they wanted to do. So they're staying a bit longer, and she's going to take these with her. Yeah, so they're all finished. Very much enjoyed knitting those. So yes, that's the two things that I've completed this time. So what we need to do now, oh gosh, I've got some very exciting things to show you actually, and a lot to say about a couple of them. So let's move on to Kay Jones. What's on your needles? Now, you might have noticed that on the last video, I didn't show you Dan's ripple blanket, did I? I did not. And that was because I hadn't actually worked on it in that 2-week period. And that really, it's not because I didn't want to, it's just because I was well into working for the summer of stitching, and I just had loads of other things that took up my time. So it just got put to one side, just for a small amount of time. And then as soon as I'd filmed actually that last video show, I got it out of the bag, and I thought to myself, right, I'm going to do a stripe a day and see how far we get. And I did that for quite a number of days. It's only the past sort of maybe 3 or 4 days that I haven't worked on it, because I wanted to get it to a certain point, and I've got it to that point. So I've done loads. Wait till you see. Wait till you see. That's the next colour of yarn. So this blanket, if this is the first time you're watching, or if you haven't seen the previous few videos, this blanket is something that I've designed in memory of my lovely Dan. And I started this, when did I start this? I probably started this towards the end of March. I really wanted to have something comforting to work on. And, you know, all of the thoughts I was having, I just wanted to sort of channel that energy into a project. So, So yes, I started this blanket for him and I wanted it to be a ripple pattern because that had a lot of significance. Gosh, I thought I could talk about this fine. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, if you want to hear me talking all about this blanket, then I would suggest going back to initially episode 291. That's when I'd first started it. And then I spoke about it and showed it in a couple of episodes following that. It's just the last one, so 295 that I didn't mention it. But yeah, the ripple has a lot of significance for me and for Dan. So I knew I had to do that. So the pattern that I came up with is actually based on my fairground socks. It's the same stitch pattern, but worked in flat, because obviously they're worked in the round and this is worked flat. So the fairground socks actually there's 3 sizes and each size has its own chart. So I chose one of those charts that felt right to me to use for the blanket. I converted it to being flat and then decided what yarn I wanted to use. So this, you'll know if you've been watching that this yarn that I chose also was very significant, and I chose a premium acrylic. Yes, it's a premium acrylic. It's Stylecraft Special DK. And it's in 11 different colours. And the colours are all very significant too. I chose all colours that are connected to Dan. A lot of the colours were taken from garments that he'd knitted, mainly Let Lopi's, his passion for Let Lopi. And then also some colours that just related to Dan directly. And then a pink for me, because you've got to do that. And yeah, I'm knitting this size that I'm knitting. It's a really good lap size blanket because this is just a blanket for me. And I just wanted this blanket to be something that I can, have over my lap, snuggle under. Yeah. So I'm now on to the final repeat of colours. So I've worked through 2 full repeats of colours and I'm on to the 3rd. And that's the point I wanted to get at. So let me show it to you. What I might do actually is drop in a photo. I took a photo of it sort of laid out where you can see it much better. So as I'm talking, I might drop that photo in just so that you can see it from a bit further back. But here it is kind of in the flesh, and I'll just try and show it you as best I can. So here we go. And if I just move up, you should be able to then see how long it is now. I don't know how well that's going to show. Oh, isn't it just fabulous? I love it so much. So yeah, the start of the colour sequence is this sagey green. So you can see I've just started what will be the 3rd repeat of colours, and then I've worked out that will be long enough. So mine will have 3 repeats of the colours and it will be the perfect length. And the reason I wanted to get to this point was because I've now worked 3 repeats of this first colour, so I can weigh the yarn and I'll know how much I used, and then that is going to be about how much I'll use of each of the colours. I cast on with this one, so it's a tiny bit more, so that's a good guide to use in terms of saying I used X amount, because I know that it won't be any more than that because the cast on is, added a little bit more, you know what I mean. I weighed it actually. I think it was about 45 grams-ish, maybe 46, something like that, of this colour out of the 100 grams. And the Stylecraft Special DK comes in 100 gram balls. So you've got absolutely plenty. So if, for example, you didn't want to use all 11 colours, you could use fewer, and I think you'd still have plenty with the 100 grams of yarn, depending on how many colours you decided to use. Yeah, so I'm talking about this as if it's a pattern, and this will be a pattern that I'm going to release. I have so many people messaging me about this blanket saying, I've bought all of the colours, when are you, when are you going to release it? Now I do have a date in mind. It's not that far ahead in the future, and it's incredibly significant, this date. So I'm going to talk about that maybe on the next show, because by then I'm hoping to have written the pattern and got it into a bit of a test knit. So I will have more of a definite idea, but the date I've got in mind is really achievable for me and will just be perfect. And I'll explain that to you next time, why I've gone for that date. But isn't it just lovely? I have already filmed 3 tutorials that will be going into the pattern. So there's one for the stitch pattern itself and how you can really easily read your knitting, so you don't need stitch markers. I'm not discouraging you to not use stitch markers for the repeats. If you need to do that, absolutely do it. But I wanted to show you how I read my knitting to know that I'm always on track, and it's so straightforward. Once you've seen me, once you've watched me explain how I keep track of my repeats, you will go, oh yeah, I can do that. It's easy. I don't need all of the stitch markers. So I've put that in. I've put in how I change colours, because I do that in a particular way to get this really neat edge. I've woven in all the ends down here. You see that? These are all woven in, and it's perfectly neat edge. So there's a video for that, for how I change colours. And then the third video is how I weave in the ends on the back as well, to make that really easy and neat and tidy. So those 3 videos will be going into the pattern. And my plan for this pattern is still to initially have it to, when I publish it, I will be donating the profits for the the date that I'm going for. I won't tell you the date, but for like the couple of weeks following the release, however much I've received, I'll be making a donation to the hospice. Yeah, I'll be donating to the hospice that helped Dan. So when I say the profits, what I'll be doing, because when you sell patterns on, Ravelry is my primary source, you get charged fees. Ravelry fees are really reasonable actually, but there are some fees. And then also, more importantly, you get PayPal fees. So every time I sell a pattern, PayPal take a little portion of that to process the money. So whatever the profits are, I will take off the fees that I've had to pay. So whatever profits I make for those couple of weeks after I first put the pattern out, I'll be donating that. And I will let you all know, how much it was and everything after we get past that point. And from then onwards, it will join, my other patterns as a paid for pattern. So, I just love it. Isn't it just, it's fabulous. And it's got to the point now when I'm knitting it where it keeps me warm, and that's been fine these past couple of weeks because it's not been that warm, so that's actually been lovely. And I have been quite easily managing to knit a stripe a day, quite easily. So this actually I think would make a really great Advent project as well. And I did, if you remember, I did do that little swatch which is here. This is done with 20 gram minis. So it would work with 20 gram minis. Somebody suggested, and I don't know why I didn't think of this, and I would definitely do this, that instead of starting off with a mini, start off with the contrast colour, and then it means you get to use all of the mini without having to cast on. That's brilliant. I don't know why I didn't think of that. So I would definitely do that. And I am going to make another one of these with some mini skeins. That's one of my knitting plans for this December. So I would definitely do that. I would start with the contrast and then go into the first mini. And then you're not wasting any with the cast on. Yeah. So brilliant. And I just love this. This is a couple of Sherry Iris minis. But imagine this. It's been very popular. I've seen a lot of advents in recent years where it's like a tonal rainbow. Imagine that. Wouldn't that be fantastic? And you would probably have to use a couple of advent calendars to get the size of blanket you wanted. 24 wouldn't be enough. But that's fine, isn't it? We've all got, well, I say we've all, a lot of us have got advent calendars lying around that you've not used yet. So it's a great use of that. So I can't wait actually to cast on another one with mini skeins. It's just going to be so fun. So yeah, my point really to show you this again was that you can get one of these stripes done every day, because I was doing that quite easily and, you know, managing everything else that I got to do. So it was perfectly fine. So all of the colours I have listed before. If you go back to episode 291 and look in the show notes underneath on YouTube, all of the colours are listed there. But when I put the pattern out, they will of course all be listed too, the specific colours of Stylecraft. And I just love how the colours have come together. I wasn't sure at first, I'll be honest. When I chose them, I thought, oh, are they going to all go? But the thing that brought it all together, and it's amazing really, was the pink. I thought, as soon as I put the pink in, it all made sense. And then, you know, once I got into the second repeat, oh, I just love it. Just love it. Yes, so that's my ripple blanket. Well, the pattern is officially called Make a Ripple because that's the name of the song from Spirited that Dan really loved. Okay, stop talking about it, Kay. It's funny, these things, you know, they just whoosh at me. We're sort of when you least expect it. But look at it all crinkled up, isn't that lovely? Just gorgeous. And because it's acrylic, it's super soft and cozy and snuggly, and you can throw it in the washer and there's no worries about it. It's not whilst it's a precious thing, it's not a physically precious thing. And I think that's brilliant, isn't it? Because this is something that will outlive me, I'm sure. Yeah. So love it, and I can't wait now to get back working on it. I'm going to start on that probably today actually. My next colour is this one that's going in. Petrol, this one. One thing I need to tell you actually, this was really strange. I've got a little bit of the pink here. All of this yarn felt exactly the same when I was knitting with it. It's a nice DK weight yarn, feels quite plump, nice quality acrylic, wasn't squeaky or anything like that. And then I got to the pink, which is fondant. This is just a little bit that I pulled off. This one felt different. It feels a bit thinner, and it sort of is a little bit on the squeaky side. Still really soft, but it just felt different to all of the others. I mean, how weird is that? Has anybody else had this? But I just wanted to mention that because it definitely didn't feel as nice a quality as the other. It's just not quite as plump, and yet it's got that bit of a squeak going on as well. So I just wanted to mention that. I think it's probably just, you know, a bit of a dodgy batch or something, but not a problem. Okay, what else have I got to show you? Oh, right. Oh my goodness, I've done it again. I haven't even told you about the special segment in today's show, have I? Haven't told you. What am I like? I'm going to have to start making notes, aren't I? Dan will be cursing me. He'll be saying, woman, why didn't you make some notes? Yes, I'm back in the kitchen again today and I'm dyeing some more yarn. Because I didn't know what to do. I thought, should I do some baking this time or should I just dye some more yarn? And you know what? I just thought, I'm going to dye some more yarn because that's just what I fancied doing. So that's what I'm doing today with you all. So get ready for that. You won't be surprised when I show you the yarn that I've dyed this time. It's It's very fun. And I got you straight on the needles again, and I've got that project to show you after you've watched me dye the yarn. But in this project bag, which is my Wizard of Oz bag, this was Riley Blake fabric again, I believe, that you can't get anymore. I can't remember what it was called. It was quite some years ago. But in this bag, I've got my banana socks, my Bananarama socks that I dyed the yarn for last time. So I've finished a sock and I'm on to the second one. Oh, I love this so much. I haven't blocked this yet, but it's all finished. Look at my banana sock. How fun is that? So I popped in a stitch pattern here that I thought just mimicked the sort of ridges on a banana. And I dyed up these two colours, didn't I? So the main Bananarama colour, as I called it, with little flecks of green, because it's a slightly underripe banana, as requested by Bryony. And then this brown for the top and the bottom of the banana. It's funny on the blocker, isn't it? It is sort of a banana shape on the blocker. So that's really cool. I did a standard heel flap and a French turn on this one, and then my umbrella toe. So this is like it's a broken rib effectively, just a wide broken rib. And after I showed this on the video show, I had so many people saying, oh my gosh, is there a pattern? Are you going to put a pattern out? And I hadn't thought about doing that. And in fact, I told you on the last video show what the stitch pattern was that I used, you know, how I worked this stitch pattern. But I'd had so many people mention about writing up a pattern. I thought, oh, do you know what? If people want me to do that, then why not? And then I had a lady who said to me it looked like the vanilla latte pattern. And I thought, oh, I remember that sock pattern. So I went and looked on Ravelry, and it's actually a pattern that's no longer available. I believe it was a free pattern for many years, and there's thousands of projects. But yeah, it's not available any longer on Ravelry. And when I looked at it, I thought, yeah, it does look like the same stitch pattern that I've used. So my initial thought was, oh, you know, should I put out a paid for pattern when there was a pattern there that was free for a long time that uses the same stitch pattern? You know, that made me feel a bit uncomfortable about putting it out as a paid for pattern. However, I had conversations with a couple of friends, and the difference, I mean, I couldn't look at that pattern as such, but the difference with mine would be that, you know, there's 3 sizes and I would have a separate chart for each size. So it's not a case of here is the stitch pattern and plug it into 3 different sizes. It would be a different chart for each size, because the stitch repeat, this one is an 8 stitch repeat. Whilst that fits into the leg stitch count for all 3 sizes, it wouldn't evenly fit across the instep for all 3 sizes. And when I've had this happen with patterns before, what I've always done is I've created a separate chart for each 3 sizes, so that over the instep the pattern is as symmetrical as it can be. With this size, it's exactly symmetrical. With the other 2 sizes, it would just be a stitch out on one side to the other. But it would mean that it sits more to the eye, it would look symmetrical. And I don't know whether that was the case with the free pattern. I suspect not, that it would just be a case of over the instep you would work X number of repeats plus a half a repeat. So when you look at it over the instep, it's not going to look even one side to the other. Now that might be something that doesn't bother anyone, but I'm a detail person, you know that. So yeah, I may well write this pattern up, and at the end of the day, it's your choice, you know, as a purchaser, I guess, as to whether you buy it or not. And I completely understand if you've got the free pattern, you know, that uses this stitch design, if you like. I can totally understand that you wouldn't want to buy this, and I absolutely get that. absolutely. But at the end of the day, I'm here to provide choice, and a lot of people might want to have a written pattern now and be happy to pay for that pattern. So, you know, I still haven't fully decided, but I'm going to wait until I finish the second one. I haven't even shown you the second one. I'm just waffling, aren't I? So I'm not too far off finish the leg on the second one. I'm working it on short circulars, as you can see. Yeah, so I'm thinking about that. Let me know what you think. Do please comment and let me know what you think. And I know I'm expecting to get a mix of comments. I think some of you undoubtedly would say, you know, you've got that free pattern, you know, you downloaded it at the time and you would use that free pattern. Absolutely, I get that. But I would appreciate your feedback, I guess, on, you know, on would you be happy to pay for a pattern? The thing with my paid for patterns as well is that I've never increased the pricing on my paid for patterns, and I think they do now sit a little bit under what is probably the average for a pattern. My patterns are all £4.75, that's British pounds, and I've never changed that, and I've got no intention of changing that right now, to be honest, because I want them to remain affordable. And in this world that we live in right now, where, you know, prices for things do keep going up and up, don't they? I do want them to remain an affordable little treat for people. Yeah, so that was a lot of waffle around these socks, wasn't it? But I absolutely love them. And, you know, the other thing was I love knitting them. I love knitting them. And that, to me, is also a guide, I think. I really want to knit these using self-striping and see what they look like in self-striping. Oh my goodness, I need to tell you something. I woke up in the middle of the night one night, I don't know, a week ago or so ago. Couldn't get back to sleep. So what do? You pick up your phone, don't you? It's a bad thing. I never historically had my phone in the bedroom. Never, ever. But since Bryony's gone off to university, I do, because I just think, if, you know, she suddenly had a problem in the middle of the night, I wanted to be able to reach me. So I do have my phone off. I switched the ringer off, but Bryony's on that system where if she rang me, it would still ring. I don't know what it's called, but you know what I mean. So anyway, long and short, I picked up my phone and just was on Instagram, and I saw that Freckled Whimsy had put some leftover skeins from clubs that she'd had into a shop. I'm like, oh, right, okay. So I went and looked at them, and of course I saw two that I really loved. Put them in my cart and bought them at 2 to 3 in the morning. Completely forgot I'd done this, went back to sleep, completely forgot that I'd done it. And then I was checking my emails the next day and I'm like, what's that? Freckled Whimsy. And then I remembered that I'd bought this yarn at 2 to 3 in the morning. I've had a dispatch notice and I think it's due to arrive any day actually. So I'll show it to you next time, the two colours that I got. So I think I might use one of those to knit another pair just to see what this looks like. I think it'll be fun. So that's my banana socks, Bananarama as they would be called. And yeah, let me know what you think about that. Now, I've got one more thing to show you before I let you go off and watch me dye the new yarn today. And I've got some cross stitch to show you. Oh my goodness, I've got to say a huge thank you in relation to this. It's the cross stitch I'm knitting of the letter D, you know, that I told you all about last time, and how I'd run out of thread, the blue thread. Oh my goodness, I just got inundated with messages from you all. Loads of you had like really old DMC threads from over 20 years ago in your thread stash, and you were like, oh, tell me the number and I'll see if I've got it and I'll send it to you. Oh, it was so lovely. I had so many of these messages. It was completely unexpected. Honestly, I did not expect that. So thank you all so much. what I actually immediately did after I recorded that video, so I'd already done this when I started reading these messages, was I ordered another kit. I decided to order another entire kit because I thought, mainly because I'm sentimental about it, and I wanted to finish this cross stitch using the kit threads because that's what I'd done for mine, and I was just being sentimental. And I found another kit. I think it was the same shop, actually, the same eBay shop. It was in Australia, but actually the shipping wasn't bad at all. And another letter D. I thought, oh, I'm just going to do it, because then what I thought was, if I run out of any of the other colours, I've got them already, haven't I? I just thought, blow it, I'm going to do that. So I'd already done that when I was getting all these lovely messages. So thank you all so much. And I did thank people who sort of directly emailed me. But yeah, I got the second kit, and you'll be delighted to hear that it matched perfectly. Oh my goodness. I did buy a skein of it. I did buy a skein from Wool Warehouse, and do you know what? It's really, really, really close. I showed it to Bryony when she was home, and she's like, well, it's the same. And I held it in the light and everything. I think if I had used this, I don't think you would have noticed the difference, which is amazing, isn't it? 20 years plus difference, and it's pretty much identical. However, I bought another kit. So look, here's my original one, and here's the second one. So this kit that I'm knitting up is by Lanart. Oh, it has a number on the back. That must be, I've never noticed that. Right, okay. So it's by Lanart, and the designer is Crystal Vogel, and it looks like this. And then I've noticed on the back it says 34237. That must be the design number, mustn't it? So I'll show you that too. So I cross-stitched the first of these, the letter K that I showed you before. I think it was it the year 2000? I think it was 2000. So 26 years ago, for goodness sake. I mean, yeah, it's amazing that these kits are still, you know, still hanging around. So yeah, I got the second kit. Oh, so happy when this came. I'm like, oh, please match, please match. And it did. And I got it straight in, and then I've carried on. And he's got a face. He's so adorable. So look, this is where I'm now up to. So it's down here, look. Can't tell, can you? And look at his little face. Oh, I love him so much. So yeah, I'm stitching away on the little bear now, the little skateboarding bear, my little Back to the Future Dan skateboarding bear. Oh, love it. I'm really enjoying doing it. It's a bit fiddly. There's a lot of stitches, you know, where you've got one over here and one over here. There's quite a lot of that going on. Not so much, I'm just looking down at the pattern. It looks a bit better for the body of the bear. It looks like there's more like of the same colour, so you can get on a bit and make a bit more progress. But yeah, when I've finished this, my plan is to patchwork it into a bag. And I got a few of the fabrics out actually, just to show you, because I bought a couple of others. But it's so fun, and oh, it's so nice. It's just been so nice to do it. I think this is 16 count as well. I've not checked. Should we just do a little... Let's just do a little check, but they seem small to me, the little squares. Let me just count them. Yes, it's 16 count. And these days I work on 14 count just for my aging eyes, but I'm managing okay. I just make sure that when I'm stitching it, I'm in really good natural light, and that makes all the difference. But I'm trying to do my best stitching for Dan. Do you think I'm doing my best stitching? I think I am. Yeah. And I'm so pleased that that matched exactly. I can't tell you how happy I was. Oh. Yes. So, and this is, let me show you. This is the one, the number, if you're interested, is DMC 598. Because it did quote the number in the kit, thank goodness. But look how close it is. I think it's pretty good. Look. I think that's pretty good, isn't it, for 26 years difference? So well done DMC really for consistency. So yeah, I'm working away on that. But like I said, I can only do it in really good daylight. So it's whenever I've got an hour through the day. And I think, oh, I'm going to sit here in this nice daylight and do some stitching. It's good for outside outside crafting in the garden. But the weather's just been so grey and like quite cool actually, bizarrely, that I've not really wanted to do that. But hopefully in the coming weeks I can get some garden stitching done. But look, I've pulled out some of the fabrics that I'm going to use, and I bought a few as well. I went into my fabric stash and I did find quite a few fabrics that I'd previously used to make bags for Dan. So I've got some Back to the Future. So there'll be a little bit of that going in. I've got these two which I made as both bags. I'm actually using one right now. I'll show you later. I used these fabrics to make us both bags when we went to Holy Island last year. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to put a little bit of that in. So it's these ones. I'm not sure what these fabric ranges are because a lot of them, the selvages, I've cut off already. So I apologise, I don't know what they are if I can't see it. And then I've got the Pemberley one, and this is a Riley Blake, I believe. Yes, I can see the selvage for this. Yeah, well, all I can see is Blake Designs. It's got to be Riley Blake, hasn't it? And this one is Pemberley. It's from the Pride and Prejudice range. And I made a bag for him in the blue version of this, but I've got some in this sort of brown colour, so I'm going to use a bit of that. And then I've got Pooh and Tigger, because that was Summer of Stitching last year. And I made him a bag, which I'm now using actually. I've stolen it off him, the Tigger bag. So I've got Pooh and Tigger. And this was Riley Blake as well, wasn't it? 100 Acre Wood. And then I bought some. So one of Dan's favourite project bags that I've ever made him, and he always said this, you might remember him saying it. It was one with owls on. Now I made it years and years ago, and I don't know what the fabric is, and I didn't have any left. I went all the way through my fabric. And I thought, well, I'm just going to buy some fabric with owls on as like a little nod to that. So I found this one. It's really cute. This one is from Lewis and Irene, and it's called Old Quercus, Quercus. So it's Lewis and Irene, and I just thought it was really sweet and a similar colour to the one that I'd used for Dan. And then I bought a couple with love hearts on because I just thought that would be nice. This one I think I might use for the lining. I bought more of this one. It's like a Scandi love heart. I'm just looking for the selvage. There's nothing written on it, just there. Oh, hang on. So this is Macower UK, and it's called Scandi Hearts. And this one is grey, because I thought that just wouldn't make a nice lining to the bag. I'm trying now to fold it back over so you can see it. And then I also got this one, which I just thought was so sweet. And I might use this like for the back of the bag. Does this one have, I should have been more organised, shouldn't I? And okay, there's nothing on the selvage for this one, so I apologise, but I got these from Wool Warehouse, so I'm sure I just searched for there was a tab on fabrics that was hearts, I think, love hearts. So I got this one, which is really sweet. So I might use that as the piece for like the back of the bag. So I'll be patchworking in that cross stitch with a variety of these fabrics. So the front of the bag, and then the back of the bag, usually I just use one fabric, but maybe I'll use more. And then just, you know, the lining. So that's my lovely bag in progress with the cross stitch. So yeah, thank you all again for that. But I'm sure you'll all be super thrilled that it matches. I can't tell you how happy I was. Bryony was here actually when it arrived, that kit. And I was like, oh, is it going to match? Is it going to match? And she was sat there going, oh, of course it will. You know, a teenage, she's not even a teenager anymore. Yeah, but it matched and I was just so happy. So everyone, it's that time, isn't it? It's time to go and have a look at dyeing some more yarn. You won't be the least bit surprised when you see what colourway it is I'm dyeing up today. But I hope you enjoy it and I hope you think that it's fun. So go and take a look at that and then come back and I will show you what I've got on the needles. Hello everybody. Yes, I'm back in the kitchen and I'm back in the dye pots. We had to do another yarn dyeing today because everybody just loved the Bananarama yarn so much last time that I just couldn't stop thinking about doing another fruit inspired yarn. I had loads of people suggesting that I do a whole series of fruit and vegetable inspired yarn. So maybe that will happen. But certainly for today, I am doing another fruit inspired yarn. Oh, I've said inspired too many times now. So when I was thinking about this, the one thing that kept popping into my head, the one fruit I should say, that kept popping into my head is the one that I'm going to do today. And you will have seen from the title that came up on the screen that what we are going to do today is a fuzzy peach sock set. I've just so loved knitting those Bananarama socks that I just thought I've got to do some peach socks. So these ones, actually, when I cast these on, these are going to be a shorty pair of socks and they're going to be for me because Bryony informed me that she's not keen on peach as a colour. So yay for that. It means I get a lovely pair of socks. So yeah, these, when I get them cast on, all being well, if this goes okay today, I'm going to have some fuzzy peach short summer socks. Oh, that was difficult to say. And I am thinking of putting in a little stitch pattern to sort of enhance the fuzzy thought. But let's see how that goes. Before I can do all of that, of course, I've got to dye the yarn. Now, I've dyed peach coloured yarns several times over the years, mainly just for myself, because I love peach yarn. And the way that I dyed it before, I looked back in my dye books, but the way that I've dyed it before is it's like a layering technique. So we start off with one colour and then we layer another colour on top and that changes that base colour that we've put in. And then we're going to put on like a final wash of a colour to give a kind of peach blush to it. Do you know when you see a peach? It's obviously peach coloured, but there's a lot of pink in it, isn't there? And you do tend to get that sort of blush look on it. So I'm going to try and do that. So we're going to go for like a, you know what colour peach is. It's a pinky, goldeny sort of colour, isn't it? But then we're going to try and layer on a bit of that kind of slightly darker pinky hue to it. Oh, is this going to work? I've no idea. Once again, I'm kind of winging it and I'm going on my past knowledge of dyeing peachy coloured yarns, and I've just then tweaked it mainly to get that peachy sort of pinky hue on it as the final wash. Let's see, shall we? And then the coordinating mini, of course, has got to be like a leaf green. Now, I've also dyed a leaf green before when I did my strawberry sock set. That's another fruit yarn, isn't it? So we've done strawberry, we've done banana, and we're now doing peach. Excellent. But yeah, when I've dyed that leaf coloured yarn before, I use I use one green and one that's sort of a green, but not quite a green, and mix them together. I'm going to do a similar thing this time, but I'm actually going to throw in another green as well because I want it to be a bit brighter of a green than I've dyed before. So yeah, we're going for a nice peach leaf green. I've actually no idea what a peach leaf looks like. I don't think I actually looked that up specifically. It's just a nice bright leaf green for the mini. And I think I'm only going to use that in a kind of subtle way in the sock when I knit it. We'll see. I've got all these thoughts in my head. But the first thing definitely I need to say to you is, in the show notes underneath, once again, I've linked one of our previous video shows that has a dyeing tutorial in it. It's from the past series that I've done. And in that, I go over in a lot of detail all of the equipment and all of the kind of safety precautions as well when you're dyeing yarn. So if you've never dyed yarn before, then I would suggest just going and looking at that video that's linked underneath and just have a look at the sort of intro bit that shows you all the equipment, all of the safety things. But what I'll just say quickly is that all of the equipment that you use for your yarn dyeing, you should only use for yarn dyeing. So keep it all in a box, which is what I do, and then only use it for that. So your spoons, your pans, your measuring spoons, everything basically, keep it all in one place and only use it for dyeing, because dye powders are toxic. With that in mind, the most important thing when you're dyeing yarn is to have a mask. So whatever mask you want to get, then you definitely need a mask. You should never do any yarn dyeing unless you've got one, okay? So that out of the way, what I need to go over first of all is the colours. Now, for these two colours, I'm using all jacquard apart from one. And that's mainly just because the colours that I was thinking of that I needed, the ones that came to mind immediately were jacquard colours. So if you don't have these colours, you can substitute any brand of yarn dyes that you might have that's of a similar colour, okay? So first of all, let's just whiz through the colours I'm going to use. So for the peach yarn, I'm actually using 4 different colours. I had to look down them. You won't be surprised at one of them. I don't even need to say it, do I? But I will. So the first one is jacquard 608 pink. And it's just that kind of typical, what sort of pink is it? Like a sort of princess pink. If I say that, do you know what I mean? You do, don't you? Like a slightly tutu pink, that sort of shade. We've then got, we've got jacquard gold ochre. I should do that drinking game thing, shouldn't I, when I'm dyeing yarn? Every time I say gold ochre, you have a little swig of something. Oh, please go and pour a glass of wine or something now if it's in the evening. Or not, if you fancy it. Every time I say gold ochre, I've said it twice now, you've got to have a drink, okay? So yes, jacquard gold ochre, 636. We've then got jacquard bright yellow, which is 602. And then finally for the peach yarn, we have got jacquard vermilion, which is 611. This is the colour that we're going to use to create that pink blush at the end. Vermilion is sort of like a pinky red, which seemed perfect, okay? That's our peach coloured yarns. You'll notice we're not actually using a peach coloured dye. I always like to create peach myself when I'm dyeing it, so that's what we're going to do, fingers crossed, today. So now for the peach leaf green, we've got 3 shades. First of all, the first one is not a jacquard, but is my favourite green that I used. I think I used it last time. Did I use it last time? I did for speckling. We're using it again. It's Dana Dyes 471 Sour Apple. So it's that kind of Granny Smith green. We've then got Jacquard Emerald, which is 629. And that's just, think of Emerald City, Wizard of Oz. That's what this is. And then the final one is, probably surprise you, it's Jacquard 634 Olive. And what this green does, it's a very brownish green, isn't it, olive green? It kind of gives a little bit of depth to the green. So yeah, that one as well. That's all of our dyes. So we need to get on, don't we, and dye this peach coloured yarn first of all. So I've got everything set up, so I'm just going to move you around a little bit and then we'll get to the yarn dyeing. Right, here we go then. So in my pot here, it's quite full. I would say it's a good 3/4 maybe full of water with a scoop of citric acid, about a tablespoon. And I'm going to be dyeing, as I did before, a full skein of fingering weight yarn. It's the 8515 base again, 400 metres. And then I'm going to be dyeing 2 minis for my coordinating. So into my pot here, I'm going to first of all put in the pink, because what we're going to do is we are going to layer one on top of the other. I've found in the past, if you put in the pink and the yellow at the same time, you do get more of an orange yarn, rather than if you put the pink in first and then the yellow on top, you get that pink kind of showing through underneath the yellow, and you'll get some areas that look more pink, some areas that look more yellowy golden, and I just find that that works the best. So mask on and into the pot here, which is heating up now. It's nice and steamy. I'm going to put my pink, and I'm going to put in here a full teaspoon. These teaspoons are 1/8 of a teaspoon measure. So we're going to put in a full 1/8. Plop that in. Rinse that actually in there. And then get your big spoon. And can you see how this particular, some dye powders I find, they float on the water more than others. So I just get my big spoon and just sort of push it down. And there, so it keeps popping up. You just need to make sure you get all of that stirred in. And right away, look, we get that gorgeous pink coming through. I want this shade of peach to be, I don't want it super subtle, because although that would be really pretty, I really want it to be quite a distinct colour. So let's see how this goes. We can always add more pink if we don't think that this is enough. What I want is sort of a tonal pink ranging from very pale through to a sort of medium shade. So just make sure this is stirred in fully. Oh, that is quite pale. What I might do actually is just pop in a tiny bit more. I'm just judging this, you know, as I go along. So I put in 1/8. I'm just going to pop in another 1/4. So I've put in 1 1/4 teaspoons of the pink. Give that a rinse. And another lovely stir. We want to fully stir in these dye powders. Okay, let's give that a go. So now I'm going to grab my yarn, and I've had this skein of yarn soaking in some warm water with some more citric acid for about half an hour. That's as I always do. So here we go then. Let's get this yarn in. Let's have a look. Lovely. So as it goes in, sort of, you know, fairly slowly, but not super slow. And once it's all in, pick it up, move it, drop it back in. This looks a good colour. So now that's all in like that, if you just keep swirling around with your big spoon, I've got a wobble going on here. So we've swirled around with our spoon and the dye is gone. It's gone already, brilliant. Let's have a little look. This looks good. So this is the, can you see what we've got here? We've got a nice medium tone pink here, then it's nice and pale here. So what will happen when we put the yellow on top is we're going to get lots of different depths of the sort of peachy colour, which is what we want. So this looks good. You can see that I've moved it around just so you can see the difference in the pinks there. And that sort of graduates through the skein. That's perfect. Okay, so I'm now going to add the golden yellow. So I'm going to add a bit of the gold ochre and a bit of the bright yellow. And just because then I'm getting two different tones in there as well. And that in itself will give me sort of nuances of colour. So I'm going to get my dies ready here. I'll take the tops off. Because what I'm going to do is what I've done before, is I'm just going to lift it out of the water and then drop in the dies, give it a stir, put it back in. You can, I do have my bowl over here, and normally what I would do is I would take the yarn out and drop it into the bowl and then put the dies in. But I've got some more yarn in it at the moment, so I'm just going to lift it out. I've done this so many times before, I'm kind of used to it. So I'm going to lift it out of the water, I'm going to drop in some dye. So I'm going to use about 1/4 of the gold ochre and 1/4 of the bright yellow. So let's lift that. In fact, I'll get the gold ochre sort of ready, because we can always add more of these colours. So I'm going to go steady. So golden. Bright yellow in, and then give that a stir. Lovely. And we're going to drop that back in using my big spoon to sort of guide it in fairly slowly, because again I want to get differences in colour. I was just checking there what it looked like as it went in. So as it goes in, sort of give it a wish around like this. And then pick that back up, move it, drop it back in. Oh, that looks lovely. And then drop it back in, and then once again just sort of move it around to get it to absorb those yellows. This looks really nice. Oh yes. What we've got, I don't know if you can see this. Oh gosh, it's absolutely gorgeous. I do love dyeing peach yarn. Right, can you see here now? We've got like a deeper pinky peach and then this more yellowish peach here. That's the two different ends of the gradient, if you like. And then down the bottom here, it looks more or less the same. Oh, it's gorgeous. Oh, that's hot. I shouldn't be putting my hand in there, should I? This looks absolutely lovely. I'm just having a think about whether I've got any of the, you know, if I need to tweak any of these colours, but actually I think I really like it. I'm just making sure it's not too pink, because we are going to be adding a bit, you know, a bit more pink in when we put that wash in. So I'm just having a little look. Oh, I can't decide. You're all shouting, aren't you, whether you think it's peachy, you know, peach enough, or if it needs a bit more yellow. Do you know what? I don't want to regret adding a bit more yellow. What I might do is take out this pale end here, and this end here, which is sort of pinker, I'm going to add in just a smidge more gold ochre. Oh, I said it again. How many times have I said it? Are you drinking? Oh gosh, this is hilarious. I hope some people are. Right, just a little bit of gold ochre. Yes, come on. Okay, I've literally just got, it's not even a quarter. You can see that amount. I'm just going to quickly lift it out, drop it in, and I'm just going to do this on that end there that's got the deepest sort of pinky colour going on. Let's drop that back in, give that a whiz around like that as it goes in. And that will just take it that little bit more peach for me. There we go. Perfect. That looks perfect now. Oh, I do love a peach yarn. Bryony's missing out with this. She said to me, I don't really like peach, Mum. You can have those socks. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very kind. Oh, it looks lovely. I'm excited now for this one. Okay, I've just wiped off my spoon. Let's have a look now. Oh yes, that's gorgeous. I love this shade at the top. This one's more of a golden peach, isn't it? And then going down to the more pinky peaches down here. Lovely. So the gold has gone essentially now in there. I'm just going to give it one more little wish around like that. And then what we're going to do is make up that little pink wash that we spoke about. And I don't want to mess with this too much because I do like the way that this looks. But I just want to enhance it a tiny bit. So pop it back in like this, but get lots of different areas showing on top of the water. I didn't finish my sentence then, did I? So yeah, pull it all around like that. Lovely. So now I'm going to make up a bit of a liquid dye solution. So I've got my little pot here, which is a little 300ml plastic measuring jug. Again, I only use this for my dyeing. And I'm going to put into here some of the vermilion. So I'm probably only going to put in about 1/4 of my teaspoon. Because this really is just like a blush over the top of it. So I don't want to hold it over the pot, but I've got in my spoon about 1/4 of the teaspoon. Drop that into the jug. And then I'm going to pop in there some warm water just from the tap to the 250ml mark. Okay, give that a stir. So you can see there I've got this sort of nice pinky red solution. And what I'm going to do is just pour some randomly over the surface, just swirl it around, just to give that idea of that sort of rosiness on top of the peach. So I'm just going to swirl it around, and I'll probably use about half. Okay, so yeah, I've used about half there. Now I'm not going to touch that. I'm just going to let that set for a minute. It won't take very long. This water's really hot now, so it won't take very long. And I don't know if you can see, but now we've added like a sort of pinky hue just around here. So I'm going to let that set just for a couple of minutes, and then I'll move it around a little bit and then just finish off the jug doing the same thing. I've not used quite all of it actually. I think that's enough. Okay, so there we go then. That's done. We're not going to know fully what this looks like until we get it out of the pot, but fingers crossed we're going to have a nice fuzzy peach colour there. So now I'm just going to bring up the heat. Oh, I can take my mask off. We can bring up the heat, and then as soon as that starts simmering, I'm just going to leave it for only about 5 minutes just to simmer, and then turn the heat off, and then I'm going to pop it outside to cool down. So I'll get that done, and then we'll move on to our green minis. Right, let's do our leaf green minis, shall we? So in my pot here, once again, I've got some water, but it's only about half full. We've only got 2 minis to do, so it's only about half full. And I've got about half a scoop of citric acid, so maybe half a tablespoon. So what we're going to do this time, and again, this is a bit of an experiment, and I'm just doing this based on my knowledge of dyeing similar colours before. I'm going to add in all 3 of the dyes into the pot at once, because with this I don't mind if it creates its own individual green. That's really what we're after. So we've got the emerald, we've got the olive, and we've got the sour apple. So I'm just thinking about how much to put in. I think what I will do initially is put just about 1/4 of a teaspoon in of each, and then I'll have a look at the depth of colour and we'll take it from there. So mask on once again. And into my pot, I've got that heating up as well. I'm going to put in, like I say, about 1/4 of a teaspoon of each of these 3 colours. So there's the emerald. Look at that colour. It's a very Wizard of Oz, isn't it? And then a little bit of the olive, which looks brown in the pot. Don't panic that it looks brown. I'm just trying to get the right amount. So again, about 1/4, look. And then the same of the sour apple, and let's see what that looks like when we've got all those in there. Sour apple. So let's give that a stir. Oh, that's not at the top, there we go. Let's give that a nice stir. Oh, it looks like a potion. I can see the glow of the emerald coming through there. Oh, that looks interesting. I think I'm just going to get these minis into here and let's see what this looks like. This is a complete experiment, everyone. Literally never done this before. It looks really nice in the pot, and as I'm stirring it, I'm not sure if you can see it, but as I'm stirring it, like I say, I can get that sort of glow of the emerald coming through. It really does look like a witch's brew. Let's have a look. Yeah. Let's get it in, shall we? The minis. I've got 2 minis. Let's see what this looks like. Ooh, nice. So I'm going to get this in quite quickly. Looks lovely. Move it and then drop back in. And then I'm just going to sort of keep the yarn under the surface there and just keep not stirring, but just keep moving it around until we get all of that dye absorbed, and we'll see what the colour looks like and see if we need to tweak it. It's funny, I can see which dyes are being absorbed the quickest, because what's now left in the pot, look, is very much the emerald, I would say. And then let's have a look at this colour, shall we? Oh, it's very nice. It's a very nice leafy green. However, I feel like I want it to be a bit brighter. It's a gorgeous green, but I want a bit more brightness. So I'm going to add a bit more of the sour apple into there. It's lovely. So let's get a bit more of the sour apple in, just to lift it, just to, you know, the brightness level, because this is quite a bright green. So I'm going to go with about a 1/4 again of a teaspoon of sour apple. Give that a stir. And hopefully this will just sort of lift it a tiny bit. Let's get that back in. And then once again, just sort of move it around. Let's have a look at that. Oh yes, that looks, I can tell straight away, that looks a bit brighter. Oh, it's very pretty. I'm just going to let that finish absorbing the last of that green. Let me just give my spoon a little rinse in there. It's a very nice leafy green. You wouldn't believe there was that olive in there actually. It's what gives it the sort of depth of colour. That's lovely. What do you think? I think that's a really nice green. Do you know what I'm tempted to do? Oh, you won't believe what I'm tempted to do. I don't know whether I'm tempted to just put in a teeny bit of gold ochre just to lighten it a little bit, you know, to give it more of a yellow, you know, slightly yellowish. Do you think I should? I think it would just brighten it a little bit for me, make it a little bit more limey. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to do it. Gold ochre coming in. Look, what's the worst that can happen? You're all going to get drunk is the worst that can happen, because I've said gold ochre 3 more times now. But I'm going to do it, everyone. I'm going to do it. It's a brave new world, isn't it? Right. Let's just pop a bit of this in. I'm only going to put in a little tiny bit, literally like tip of the spoon. Can you see that? Let's bung it in. That stir. Drop it back in. Let's see if that does anything. I just feel it might brighten it a bit. And also, because we've got the gold ochre in the main skein, that's going to help it coordinate. That's really sucked that up very quickly. Let's have a look. Oh, yes. That's really nice. I am faffing, aren't I, with this green? Oh, yeah, that's definitely helped. I can see it. It's just sort of brightened it a little bit. Oh, it's lovely. Right, I think we're good now with that. So I'm just going to, once again, bring that up to simmering point. And then once it's simmering, give it 5 minutes just to simmer. And then I'll pop it outside to cool down with the other. Okay, so we've dyed our yarn. It's outside cooling down. So what I'm going to do now is I'll let it cool down, I'll bring it in, I'll give it a rinse in some wool wash, and then I'm going to hang it on the line to dry. Now I'm hoping the same thing is going to happen that happened with the Bananarama yarn, and it was a nice breezy day then, quite warm, and it's a similar day today. So I'm hoping it dries really quickly, and then I can get this on the needles later on today. But for now, I'm going to, like I say, let it cool down, I'll rinse it, I'll dry it on the line, and then I'll be back to show you exactly what our fuzzy peach sock set looks like. Okay, so it's a few hours later and the yarn is now beautifully dry, and I've wound it into a skein so you can have a little look at it. Oh my goodness, I absolutely love it. Gosh, I really hope you like this one. I cannot wait to get this on the needles. Honestly, it's just, oh, there's nothing better than dyeing your own yarn, I've got to say. As a knitter, there's nothing better, because you get the joy of it twice, don't you? You get the joy of dyeing up your own yarn, and then you get the double joy of getting it on the needles and just seeing how it knits up. Just amazing. So let me show you the green first of all, because I've got to say my addition of the gold ochre, another drink, was inspired. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I love the way that this is dyed up. It's such a lovely green. Oh, it's just perfect. And I can see, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it, through the camera to see these kind of tones and everything, but I can see the olive having an influence on it, but also I can definitely see the gold ochre just brightening everything up. Brilliant. The peach, you want to see the peach, don't you? Oh, it's gorgeous. I absolutely love it. Stop looking at it and show you. Here we go. Oh, I love it. You've got all of those different tones and shades. You know, this is why I love this dye technique so much, because you see that pink that we put on initially, and then you see the gold and the yellows, and then you see the peach that both of those two colours have made. It's just gorgeous. All the different shades, from like more of a pinky peach through to a golden peach. It's just lovely. And then that little wash of the vermilion just highlights the pinky areas. Oh, it's just lovely. I can't wait to get this on the needles. And that's the two. Should we show you the two together? It's so pretty, isn't it? Oh, and I love this green. I tell you, I'd quite like a full skein of this. With some green, just, you know, some green socks. It's so lovely. I can't stop staring at it. Stop staring at the yarn, Kay. Yeah, so you know what it's time for me to do now? It's time for me to get this wound up and cast on. Actually, I'm going to hold off till a little bit later, maybe tonight. But I will get it wound, and then I'm going to get the needles and everything, get it ready. I've got an idea on how I want to knit these socks. So I'm going to jot down some notes, and then I'm going to get everything ready, and then I'm going to have this as a cast on tonight. I'm halfway through watching Chronicles of Narnia, the first film, Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, because when Bryony was here last week, I can't remember what made me want to watch this film. I must have seen something, but I really wanted to watch Prince Caspian, because I'd never seen Prince Caspian. I'd watched the first one, you know, loads of times years ago. I think the original one, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, came out in 2005. Prince Caspian, I think, was 2008. And I'd never seen that, and I really wanted to watch it. So we watched it one afternoon, Prince Caspian, and it was brilliant. We loved it. We had such a lovely time watching that film. You know, it's just one of those films. It's fantasy, isn't it? I mean, you all know the books, you know, and the film series that goes with it. But it was so nice just to sit down and watch it. I was doing some knitting, Bryony was doing some journaling, and we were just really enjoying the film. So it's made us both now a bit obsessed with the Chronicles of Narnia. So last night I started watching the first one, and I got about halfway through. So tonight I'm going to finish it off, and this is what I'm going to be casting on whilst I watch the rest of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. So that's something to look forward to, isn't it? Absolutely. We all need these little tiny, you know, bright spots in our day, don't we? To look forward to. So yeah, I'm going to do that tonight, watching that film. Oh, so exciting. I really hope you enjoyed another yarn dyeing tutorial so quickly after the last one. I wouldn't normally do that, would I? I mean, usually, historically, I would have alternated with something that Dan was doing. But, you know, as I said earlier, it's, you know, a whole new world now, and everybody just loved the Bananarama yarn so much last time that I thought, well, why not? Why not? Let's just do another one, because whatever brings you joy is the thing, isn't it? I'm dyeing this up for you all and just showing you how I've created this, and then just the anticipation of getting a lovely pair of socks for me this time on the needles. It's just lovely. Yeah, so I can't wait. Oh, I do love a peach yarn. Do you know, it's funny because, I don't know, I wouldn't have said, you know, going back years and years, I wouldn't have said I was a particular fan of like oranges and peaches. But these days, I really love a lovely peach yarn. And especially, I do like orange as well, but I would say orange. I'm more this, because technically I suppose this is a shade of orange, isn't it? You know, what is peach? Is it a pinky orange? Is that how you would describe it? I don't know. Is it a golden pink? So I'm now going to go and, like I said, get this wound up, organise a project bag. Let's find a project bag for it. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use, but we'll find something that's maybe, you know, got some peaches going on. I'm going to get my needles organised, stitch markers, everything ready to cast this on tonight, and then you will see it in the, you know, on the needles, as we say. Let's hope it's pretty. It's got to be pretty, hasn't it? It's got to be. So yes, I really hope you enjoyed that, everyone. And I'm sure I'll be back again for yarn dyeing. Maybe not next time. Let's do something different next time. But yeah, cogs are whirring as to what the next yarn dyeing I say tutorial. I'm just dyeing it here in my kitchen. If you want to go ahead and dye your own version of it, then go, you know, absolutely go for it. But it's more following me along in this little dyeing journey. So I'll let you now go and have a little closer look at this beautiful yarn whilst I get everything ready to get it cast on and on the needles. Yes, I dyed up some peach coloured yarn, or peach inspired yarn, I should say. You're not surprised, are you, that we had another fruit inspired yarn? It was so funny because, again, the number of messages I got and comments on the last video that was like, oh, you've got to do a whole range of fruit and vegetable inspired yarn. And I was just like, oh gosh, do you know what? Why not? It was fun. And I just had a hankering for some peach socks. So I was like, right, let's just do that. So that's what we got, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. And I do have a pair of socks on the needles. Luckily for me, Bryony's not keen on the colour peach, so I get these. So this is a shorty pair of socks that I'm doing. But yeah, this is the bag that I've got them in. And this is one of the bags I made for me and Dan. This was mine, and then Dan's was the other way around. When we went to Holy Island last year. So that's the bag I've got this project in, because I didn't have anything with, surprisingly and shockingly. I really need to make a project bag, don't I, with fruit all over it. Oh, that would be so fun. I'm going to go looking for fabric now. But yeah, I do have a sock on the needles. So you won't be shocked once again to know that these are on short circulars. And I'm using both colours of yarn, but in a slightly more subtle way, I think. But this green, oh my goodness. Did any of you play the drinking game? I thought that was so funny. The gold ochre drinking game. Do tell me if you did. This green, oh, if you like the colour green, I think you would just love this. I mean, look at the green. Just gorgeous. And let me tell you, the gold ochre going on top of it, perfection. But yeah, I've got one of them wound up. And here's the peach yarn all wound up. Now I've noticed that in certain lights, when I was knitting this last night, it looked more orange than peach. But to me now, it does look more like a dark peach. So I don't know how this is going to come across on camera, but it definitely is. You know, it is a darker peach, but I didn't want that subtle. I think I said, didn't I? I didn't want that very subtle pale peach. I did want a nice punchy peach. And that's definitely what I got. And I love the colour. So yeah, here's my sock. I've finished the leg. I've just done 24 rounds for the leg because I've worked out that that's my perfect length of leg for a short sock. So here's my little peachy sock. So can you see I've put in a little sort of delicate kind of stitch pattern there? I actually knitted this whole leg just plain. I was just going to do a plain vanilla sock. And then I was in the shower last night and I thought, you know what, I really want to put a bit of texture into that sock to sort of give an impression of the fuzziness, if you like, of a peach. And I thought of something when I was in the shower and I thought, oh, don't forget this, don't forget it, you know. And then I got out of the shower forgetting what I just thought of. But then I got downstairs and I saw the sock and I'm like, oh, yes. So I quickly wrote it down. I swatched it. I thought, I don't want to just rip this back and start knitting it. Whoops, start knitting it and then not like it. So I quickly swatched it, really liked it and thought, yes, I'm going to do that. So I ripped the whole leg back. It's 24 rounds. It's not that much, is it? Ripped it back and then started this stitch pattern and I really love it. I really love it. It's just subtle, but again, it's one of those stitch patterns, a bit like the banana socks. It just keeps you going. And this one, it's in, how many row repeat? I think it's an 8 row repeat. And it just was lovely. It flew. I'd re-knit these 24 rounds in what felt like an absolute instant. So isn't it lovely? So with this one now, I'm going to do my favourite method. I'm going to put in a butterfly heel with the green. And then the rest of the sock will be in the peach. So I've just got this little hint of the green at the top of the cuff. The heel will be in green and then the rest of the sock will be peach. And I think that will just be so lovely. Oh, I love it. And it's this yarn, I mean, there's no speckles in it or anything. You saw how I dyed it. So it's a very tonal yarn, but there's lots of shades in there. There's lots of areas where it's more of a golden colour. Because peaches are that, you know, a lot of a peach is very golden, isn't it? And then part of it can be very rosy red. So I wanted to get that across. So we've got some of those darker spots where we put on that wash afterwards, but then there's also a lot of the golden areas coming through. Do you know what else I did on that same day? And I'm going to show it to you. It didn't really work properly, but I thought I'd show it to you anyway. Do you know how I said during that video that if you put in the 2 dye colours straight away at the beginning and then put the yarn in, you just kind of get an orange yarn? Well, I thought I'd try that initially. And I'd got some yarn in my stash that I'd had for ages. And I had dyed one of them up before. And it's a difficult yarn to dye. But I thought I'm going to grab one of those and I'll stick that in the pot and see what it comes out looking like. And it does look more orange. So I used one of the brushed merino skeins that's become quite popular. It's a lace weight brushed merino. It's just 100% merino and it's brushed. So it's got that very fluffy look, but it's super soft. It doesn't have any of the mohair problem going on that a lot of people struggle with. And I know the Suri one, the Suri alpaca and silk, is very soft, but I know some people still have issues, don't they, with alpaca. This is just 100% merino brushed and it's bonkers. So this is the skein I dyed. It does look very orange, but it's very pretty. Look how fluffy it is. But what happens with this yarn in particular is similar to dyeing when you dye a mohair lace as well, mohair silk lace. It's like a mat. When it's wet, it just all kind of mats together. And when you drop it in the water, it just immediately sucks up tons of dye. Because you've got all those fluffy fibres, it just goes like this. And that means then you get a very kind of half and half thing going on. So the first bit you dunk in gets all of the dye, and then as quick as you can get it in, the top half still doesn't absorb as much. So I think to dye this as a proper tonal, you really need to get it all into the dye pot at the same time, or do it in multiple layers. But I thought, well, I'm just going to dye it anyway. And I showed this to Bryony and I said, oh, do you know what I could do? I could double it and knit like one of those little monster things that I've knitted before. Is it called a kindness monster, I think? And she was like, oh, that'd be so cool. So I might do that with this. But let me show you, if I unfurl it, what I mean about how it went into the dye pot. So look, it went into the dye pot like this. You can so see it. So it went in, I don't know how much of this you can see, but can you see this end here is very orange and then this end is very pale. So it's definitely got that half and half thing going on. So I think if you were to for example, if you knit this just singly, would you ever do that though with something? I don't know, because this type of a yarn you tend to hold double with something, don't you? Or hold the yarn double itself maybe. It would probably pool is what I'm saying. However, to hold it double, what I would do is I'd wind the whole skein and then I'd wind off half of it. You know, so you've got two halves, and I'd make sure that when I was holding it double, I wasn't holding it double at the same point. So for example, I'd have one strand coming from this end where it was very orange and one strand coming from the other end where it was very pale, so that then you're going to get that slightly mild look going on, aren't you? And should avoid the pooling. But I just wanted to show you that because this yarn I know has become really popular. And it's bonkers. It's like the size of my head. Look how fluffy. And it's so soft. And I know a lot of yarn dyers now are dyeing on this base. I can't remember the yardage. It's high because it's a lace weight and it's 100 grams, but I can't remember the exact yardage. But like I say, I know a lot of yarn dyers are dyeing on this base. And I bought this base from the place I always get my yarn from, which is Yarn Undyed here in the UK, and I know they do ship worldwide as well. Just wanted to show you that. Thought that was a bit of fun. So yeah, my peach socks are on the go. I hope you enjoyed watching that, and maybe for now that might be enough of the fruit inspired socks. We shall see. So that now leads me on. I am a bit concerned that this episode is going to be very, very long. I hope that's not a bother for all of you, because I know that when I edited that yarn dye-in, it came out longer than it should have. Take a break, go and do something else, come back and watch the rest later. Okay, it's time for Endy Bits. Right, I've bought a couple of skeins of yarn and also I've finished a book. I don't know what to say about this book. Shall we lead with the book? Yeah, this is a very popular book right now. Okay, so when I show it to you, you'll go, oh yeah, I've read that, or oh, I've heard so-and-so talking about that. So I have just finished Yesteryear. This is by Caro Claire Burke. And yeah, I saw this in the bookshop in Waterstones when I went to see Bryony a couple of weeks ago, and I read the blurb and I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then Bryony said, oh yeah, this whole tradwife thing, it's really popular right now. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Didn't have a clue what she was on about. I'm so out of step with the world. I have no idea what's kind of, you know, the latest thing that people are either reading about or talking about or whatever. Anyway, yeah, it's based on this kind of tradwife thing. And I read the blurb and I thought, gosh, that sounds interesting. I like the sound of that. And it's a hardback, as you can see. So it was an expensive book. But Bryony was keen to read it as well. So I said, all right, then I'll buy it and then I'll read it and I'll pass it on to you. Perfect. So I've read this book and I don't really know what to say about it. It's difficult to talk about it without giving spoilers, so I'm not going to do that because I'm sure there's lots of you that haven't read this book. It wasn't the book I thought it was going to be, right? From reading the blurb, which I'll read a tiny bit of it because this is on the book. I'm not giving anything away. You know, this is, if you picked up the book, this is on the book. So, Natalie lives a perfect traditional lifestyle and her followers are sick with envy. Her charming farmhouse on her working ranch is artfully cluttered. Her husband is a handsome cowboy and her homemade sourdough balls are each more beautiful than the last. So what if there are nannies and producers and industrial grade ovens behind the scenes? What her followers don't know won't hurt them. Then one morning, Natalie wakes up in a strange, horrible version of reality. Her home, her husband, her children, they're all familiar, but something's off. Is this a hoax, a reality show, a test from God? So basically, she's in this life where she's an Instagram star, in inverted commas, and she's leading this life as described in there. But then she wakes up one morning, and although it looks like she's in her house, it looks also like she's been transported back to the era that she's actually trying to live in the modern day. So in my head, I thought, oh, it's a time travel book. This is going to be so fun. I'm not going to say anything about the plot or anything, but it wasn't the book I thought it was going to be. It's kind of a shocking book. It's a shocking reflection on, I guess, what could happen in this modern day that we live in. It's very raw. It's no bars held kind of thing. I don't know whether I enjoyed it or not. It feels more of an experience than a joyful read. I wanted to keep reading because it was like, what's going on? It's that kind of a feeling. If you've read this, you'll understand what I mean. And I just, things kept happening and I'm like, huh? Where is this book going? I have no clue. So if you're interested, I would say, yeah, give it a go. I actually partly listened to this and partly read it, and the narrator was really good. I managed to switch between listening and reading with my eyes quite easily. And it was a compelling read. Easy to read, I would say, well written, but, quite shocking. And it is funny in parts, in a kind of like, you're laughing going, oh, that kind of a funny. There's a lot of shocking things happen. The main character, I don't think we're meant to like her. Yeah, so don't really know what to say about that book. I was glad to get to the end of it and move on to something a bit more joyful. Yeah. So that's that. And then I got some yarn. I think I told you that I'd bought this yarn. So I bought some yarn from Dandelion and Dogwood. The colourway is called The Year of Miracles because it was dyed inspired by this book, which I showed you a couple of episodes ago. And I loved the yarn that I saw. It was like this on the picture and it just looked lovely. So I ordered a sock set. Let me show you. And it arrived. It's this one. It's a main skein and 2 minis. The thing, it's lovely. I've used Dandelion and Dogwood yarn before. The thing that I always find with Dandelion and Dogwood is that it takes some time for you to get your order. I ordered this, I think it was the 24th of May, and I got it on about the, I think 12th or 13th of June. It's quite a long time, isn't it, for a skein of yarn to arrive? So I can only think that they die to order and that they're not in stock. That's the only thing I can think. That's the experience I've had every time I've bought yarn from them. And the base that it comes on, I've knit on it before, but you need to be aware that it's a thicker fingering weight. It's 80/20 and it's only 375 metres per 100 grams. So it's a thicker fingering weight yarn. And I've knit socks with this before and I know that it's slightly thicker. So as long as you're aware of that and you're happy with it. But the colour's lovely. Now, they use staples. You know my feeling on staples, so I'm not going to go on about that. So I'm just making sure that none of that catches as I pull it down. But it's a really pretty yarn. And traditionally when I use dandelion and dogwood yarn, I usually make my, what is the pair of socks called? It's inspired by the Railway Children. Oh, I can't remember the name of the pair of socks. It's the one that's got two garter, like railroad tracks going down it. My brain. When I have this on the needles, I will let you know. But yeah, it's very pretty. But I just wanted to let you know that they do take some time. Certainly in my experience, it takes some time to actually get the yarn. Then the last thing I purchased is the next Moon Minis from Pixie Yarn. So Sophie had a bit of a break from her shop because she was doing loads of shows. But she came back the beginning of June, and there was actually 2 mini sets for May because there was 2 full moons, I think was my understanding, and that's why there's 2. And I've got the rest of them are up here. I've shown you before. So I've got 2 more. So I've got Blue Moon, which is very moody. And then this one is my favourite so far, and it's called Flower Moon. I'm all over this mini set. Oh, isn't it gorgeous? So at the moment, I'm just collecting these. So how many have I got now? That's 6. And there's 5 minis in each. So I'm getting quite the collection. So I'm just saving these all through the year. And then when I've got them all, I'm then going to have a little plan for what I'm going to do with them. But I wanted to get them all first because although each pack is a gradient, some of them, I mean, these do kind of follow on. Look, sorry for the crinkling. But with the others, when I've kind of laid them out, I think a couple of them didn't, there was a bit of a jump between one and the next. And I thought if I just wait till I've got them all, then I can arrange them in the way that I want to knit whatever it is I'm going to knit. No idea at the moment. I'm just enjoying collecting them. I do love collecting minis. It's a bit of a second hobby, isn't it, really? That's how we can feel of it. And we get round to using them at some point, don't we? Okay. Wow. I think that's more than enough, isn't it, for one show? Dan would be cursing me that these shows are this long. I haven't gone over 2 hours yet. So we'll see how we get on when I get down to editing. So it's been lovely to be back with you, everybody. I've so enjoyed showing you everything that I've been working on. You know, being back here with you and still being here, you know. It's, oh, yeah. It means everything. So thank you. Yeah, thank you everybody for sticking with me, and thank you for being here, and you know, as always, a huge thank you to our patrons. So here's hoping we get a bit of sunshine in the next couple of weeks. That would be absolutely lovely. I would love some sunshine. Saying that, it has got a bit sunnier since I've been sat here with you. So maybe I can get out into the garden later on and just sit for a bit and do some cross stitch. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? So whatever you are doing, everybody, I hope you have a super lovely time the next couple of weeks, and I will see you all back really soon.